What's up, guys? So, we're here to talk about the earnings call. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. I'm going to give you the important parts of it. I'm not going to read everything. This is just a reference thing, but um, I sat through the whole thing. It was like, it was torture. I don't enjoy sitting through these earnings calls, but we do it because we're trying to find information. So, the majority of more than the first half was just talking about all the numbers. They're all bad. There's no need to get into actual numbers. You guys know this company is bleeding profusely financially. They're in big trouble, and they're really just dragging their feet. They're going kicking and screaming. They're not just gonna roll over. But I'm gonna tell you a few things that might make some of you happy, but it's not definitive. But um, so yeah, all you could see all these bullshit numbers. Well, the numbers aren't bullshit, but throughout the entire thing, he has this monotone, almost blasé attitude. Like there's nothing to see here. We have to do this and that, and this is what's happening, and we're losing money, and our products aren't selling, basically. But I get it, right? He's the CEO, and the job of a CEO is to put on. You're the face of the company. You can't go to an earnings call and just reveal bad news and just panic, right? So it's like the captain on a ship. I always use that analogy because this is a sinking ship. But if you are in a serious, if you're having serious problems, you don't. The last thing you want to do as a captain, or anybody should want, is a captain that's panicking and just losing his shit and gets on the blowhorn and he's screaming, "Hey, everybody, we're gonna die. The ship's sinking, and every man for themselves." That's not going to be good, right? So, the job of a CEO is to be professional, be monotone, and just don't show that you're panicking, right? So I understand why he's doing it, but because we know what the fuck's going on, it's really just bullshit. So, um, basically, they're saying they have to come up with a plan by the end of the year to meet the requirements of the stock market and all that stuff. None of that's important to us because it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. This is, uh, yeah, we're just really waiting to see how long are they going to drag their feet. But as they went forward, um, yeah, I got to let me read a little bit of this because somebody asked, just to start, maybe spend a few minutes talk about the reception and feedback you've gotten from consumers related to both expansion pack on the first week of October and then switch, blah blah blah. How the engagement trended so far, blah blah blah. So there's a couple things here that really bugged me. We're tracking as per expectation. We're monitoring the positive feedback from the community, mostly geared towards our Switch title. I had the pleasure firsthand to experience a very interesting competition at multiple events that we ran at the NASCAR track. Those things are meaningless. They make a big deal out of this, and if this is really the only thing you're paying attention to, no wonder these people are they're lost. They're living in a bubble. But I'll talk more about it. Let me not get too far ahead of myself. Multiple of our products were showcased to the users, and I got a chance to experience their actual live feedback, not the feedback behind Twitter walls or anything else, but realistically seeing their eyes light up or other type of emotions that they experience when they enjoy the products. This guy is a fucking Hall of Fame level bullshitter. Okay, um, if you're gonna put yourself through the torture of listening through the to the entire earnings call, go ahead, but be warned. Uh, it's it's boring, and it's just there's parts of it that just made me cringe. And he's talking about he's seeing their eyes light up. Listen, I go to NASCAR races every year. Um, People are drunk. People are tired. If they have kids with them, they're fucking tired of the kids nagging them. They're just waiting for the race to start. Uh, Anything at the track is entertaining. When you go, there's just trailers selling all kinds of merchandise. You got trailers handing out shots. Actually, I haven't seen that in the last couple times I went. But I remember like there was a Jack Daniels trailer and a Crown Royal, and you could get online and get your hand stamped, and you could actually get a free shot. That's neither here nor there. But my point is, when you're at these events, everything is just it's there. It's to gauge people's reaction at an event like a NASCAR race. That's not a that's not a good place to gauge it. Eyes lighting up. Maybe they're fucking blitzed out of their mind. Maybe, or they're talking about these 3 year olds they're always talking about. Kids. I don't want to get any further with it. That kind of shit just bothers me. Like he's making it sound like these people are fucking. Oh my god, this is so much fun. What a great game. What a great experience. And this is the other thing. Not the feedback behind Twitter walls or anything else. He's talking about us, the community, on social media. We don't matter. You know why? Because we know this product is garbage. And we're not giving them positive feedback, so therefore they're just not going to pay attention to us. So that's a huge part of why these people are never going to be successful, because they'd rather go and get feedback from little kids at a fucking NASCAR race or a bunch of people at the track. They're not giving you accurate feedback. They're just, you're at a NASCAR event, you can have a good time just about doing anything. But again, they're just burying their heads in the sand, and they don't want to deal with the feedback. Realistically, seeing fuck this, man. I could confidently say Rivals is being received very well from the community. Seems to be an enjoyment. This guy is a professional bullshitter. All right. This is not important either. Okay, here's the potential changes to the product roadmap, how that fits with the decision-making process, blah, 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 blah. Or is it some relation to some of the other franchises? Okay. Another good. We haven't made any changes to the anticipated delivery dates of those products. Like I told you, according to him, everything's just on schedule anyway. I mean, that's got to be bullshit. What we've done is optimize the amount of tools that we invest in. This is something else that raised a red flag, and I'm going to tell you right now, this is something else that's never going to work. Hold on a second. Basically focusing on making our development process more efficient. So they're laying people off, they're firing people, people are quitting, they're losing people. But they're gonna have a development process that's more efficient. Well, efficiency is cutting jobs. That's pretty fucking efficient. At least for saving money. I don't know about making games, but pay attention here. So they do not require as much time to develop the product as previously anticipated. There's more automation and testing processes that we have also implemented. Certain types of tools on our tracks, vegetations, and other elements that are necessary inside our racing games are being created and populated as content within the game. So when he's talking about automation, first of all, automation and testing processes, okay? There is software that developers use, right? Where you can save time by what the software tends to do is copy and paste things, right? So if let's say you're building a city, there's a lot of I should say content or assets that are being used repeatedly. So you're not gonna design a mailbox 50 times, right? So wherever you want a mailbox within a given area, um, it's just gonna duplicate that. Maybe duplicate certain buildings, and then what actual developers do, they'll go back and then they'll tweak things. So the two buildings are not exactly the same. They'll change a few things. They might, make put a different signage, make maybe different things to the brick facing, whatever. But where you have the same two buildings, but then you can kind of make them look different. But instead of, you don't have to do it from scratch. um, Rockstar did not develop that trilogy that came out last year or earlier this year, whatever it was. When they re-released the original San Andreas, Vice City, and GTA 3, what they had was, first of all, they hired an outside developer. Grove Street Games is not really part of Rockstar. So this was not developed by Rockstar. They gave that project to someone outside. They were using an automated software. So it was taking assets from the original games and just sort of automatically doing things and adding things to recreate the game. So it's the same game, but not the same. I don't know if I'm getting a little confused here, but the point is, in that process, a ton of shit got fucked up. In fact, a lot of parts of the new updated remaster of the three games looks worse than the original game from the PlayStation 2, way back in the original game. Character models look way worse. A lot of issues with the graphics. Misspelled things in the game. It's things that actual people are supposed to go in there and correct, because this is an automated software. It's not going to do everything perfect. So that's what they're talking about. Now it may not be the exact same thing, but this is taking the place of actual people, right? You still need people to like polish everything and finish everything off. But these guys they couldn't put together a working product. This is gonna, first of all, this is bullshit probably. He's just trying to get confidence in any potential investors, but this is not gonna work. We are not at that place now where this is actually something that can work smoothly. And these people don't even know how to put together a working game with real developers. They don't even know how to do that. So this really is a red flag to me. But they think they're gonna push out other games doing this. These people are delusional. Or he is, like I said, a Hall of Fame level bullshit artist. He doesn't fool me, but he fools some people. I don't know how anybody could hang out with this guy for a weekend and walk away thinking he's charming and funny and that he really knows what he's doing. He's not gonna fool me like that, but that's what he's talking about. This is all bullshit, but we currently do not anticipate delays from what we have previously said about our 2023 releases. Bullshit. This is, how he can say this with a straight face is beyond me. It's just, but it gets to something interesting. In terms of the fact that you have such iconic titles, are you seeing any interest from other larger gaming companies in terms of the business? Are they pinging you at this point? Just wondering if there are other options out there of the ones that you identified in terms of debt, changes in product roadmaps, in terms of equity offerings and other, if there's an option as well. This is what everybody really is interested in, including myself. We hear rumors, iRacing, hear rumors. I'm one of the people putting that rumor out there, but it's based on speculation, but it's, I have a good track record. I think, I know I don't mean to sound, arrogant or like I'm bragging. I'm really not. That's not who I am. But I've been talking about these things for 10 fucking years, and I think I have a really good track record. So I'm telling you that there's no way this is a coincidence that they were putting out that teaser about, you know, uh, redoing Dirt to Daytona, and what, asking people what they would think about it. Obviously, they must know something. So Dimitri lets out the bag. One thing that I could say is that all, let's call it the usual suspects or the larger players in the industry, are aware of us. That are aware of us. Yeah, of course they're aware of you. You are probably the most embarrassing game developer out there right now. EA's pretty bad, but yeah, they're aware of you all right. But he makes it sound like, yeah, we're one of the big boys. We have some form of communications with quite a few of them. That's not true. If you think a whole bunch of different developers are banging down their door, that's not true. He doesn't, like I said before, he's not going to panic. He's not going to show the anybody that they're desperate. Yeah, which is honestly what he should be doing. I'm going to give him that much credit, right? You want to get any deals that you make, you want to maximize. So you're not going to tell people, hey, the ship's sinking, so you want to buy some of this stuff. Of course not. You're going to make it sound good. Oh, look, the roadmap's not it's unaffected. Look, we got a lot of people, beating down our door. They, inquiring, and people are aware of us. Yeah, of course. So he's doing. That's the one thing I could say. Okay, he's doing what he's supposed to do. You gotta don't show all your cards. But in my mind, the only people they who have probably communicated with them is iRacing. So that's the only one that makes sense to me. Some people, I still see people bringing up EA as a possibility, or how that might be a good thing. I keep telling you guys, you do not want EA. EA is one of the worst game developers in history. Um, they completely destroyed Project Cars. Project Cars is dead, by the way. They killed that franchise. They just announced it recently. It's dead. Okay? And that after they already fucking drove it off a cliff. Project Cars 2 was a really, really well received simulator. And they could have kept building on that. But Project Cars 3 turned out to be something completely different. A lot of people were upset. But of course, that's what happens when EA takes over. All they care about are microtransactions. You don't want EA anywhere near a NASCAR license. The good news is, I don't think they want it anyway. So, the only realistic player that I see is iRacing. And that's a good thing. But I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. Okay, let's move forward. Let's see. Exploring different types of options. I cannot particularly say which options they are. I wouldn't say there's anything definitive, but if there's some sort of proposals that would come from their side, we would definitely explore. Yeah, you should. You're not in any position to be fucking playing hardball. So, this is one other thing that I'm going to say. Now, I am open to being corrected on this. I'm not 100% sure. But it seems to me that this NASCAR license is not a tangible thing that Motorsport Games owns. This is a licensing agreement, is an agreement between two parties. That means the game developer and NASCAR. So Motorsport Games can't actually just say, hey, we, buy this from us and we'll sell it to you. NASCAR actually has to sign on. They have to agree. They may want to make changes. Maybe they say, okay, um, we want to restructure this thing, whatever. But NASCAR is has a big say in all of this. So I think some people think that somebody can just come and buy the license off of Motorsport Games. I don't believe that's how it works. This is licensing agreement is an agreement between two parties. And if one of those parties wants to go sell it to, this is why NASCAR can't just say, fuck it, we're gonna sell, we're just gonna give a license to someone else, and we're gonna just null and void this one. I do think there has to be some exit clause of some kind, but there must be a reason why they're stuck with these guys. They haven't said another word this entire year, in spite of how bad things are. So, these licensing agreements, it involves more than one party, which is what I'm trying to say. But I can guarantee you that iRacing already has a relationship with NASCAR. NASCAR is not going to stand in the way. So I think this all hinges on how stupid Motorsport Games wants to be, because, like I said, they're dragging their feet. They're not going to just roll over. They're going to try to get what they can to minimize their losses, or they might be delusional. Right? That's totally plausible that they still think there's a way that they can kind of right the ship, and maybe they can get somebody to develop the game under their umbrella. And maybe they think, oh, maybe we can convince iRacing to say, we'll make the game, and but you're still the publisher, and maybe we'll kind of figure out who gets how much of what. Now, I don't want that. I don't want Motorsport Games involved in any way, because if that's the kind of thing they're looking for, they're going to continue force feeding esports and this other garbage. Esports is not a fucking real thing. They've been desperately trying to make it a thing for years. I told you guys, I warned everybody about esports, this whole focus on esports, way back in NASCAR 3, when 704 started talking about it. Some of you will remember that, but I warned people. And this is why I tell you guys, I think, my record is pretty good. When I talk about these things, I'm not saying it's perfect, but, I told you guys, it was a huge mistake to ever even focus in that direction. People just want a good video game. They're not looking for a fucking esports, a path to esports. That's a very niche market. They're trying to make it popular. And that type of thing has to happen naturally. And it's never going to happen naturally if you don't give people a fucking decent video game. That should have been their first priority. That's one of the reasons that 704 failed. Because they were focused on everything except career mode and making sure that you had a tangible game that people loved. So yes, NASCAR Heat 4 and 5 are decent. It's a decent product, but it was still way behind what we should have been getting. So, whatever happens, it does look like the possibility of iRacing stepping in. That's the feeling I get. Again, it's all speculation, but I think that's what most people wanted to kind of get from this. And I do think we're getting it. I just think he's not going to give more than that. And I get it. He's the CEO. And, of course, if you have something that somebody wants, you don't want to let people know that you're desperate. Even though they know you're fucking desperate. iRacing is not stupid. They know what's going on here. Everybody knows. This is why they're not going to raise the capital they need between now and the end of the year. That's not going to happen. Okay? So, it's just a matter of time. I don't really have much else for you guys, but that's basically what people wanted to know. I think like what's gonna happen. Um, yeah, they claim they're still focused on 2023 and the delivery of the products. You're not gonna deliver shit. You don't even have. I don't know how many people are there working on anything, but the ship is headed toward the bottom of the ocean. So you really got to liquidate what you can. And this automated shit that he brought up, that really got my attention. The first thing I thought of was that Grand Theft Auto trilogy remaster that turned out to be pretty fucked up. They were using an outside developer, Grove Street Games, I believe, and they were using an automated thing, like software that was just kind of rendering or transferring assets and just kind of polishing it, like for to make it look better. But a lot of the old game looks better than the new game. So anyway, that's neither here nor there. But whatever, if they think that's gonna save them or help them, that's got to be a just a bullshit marketing thing, for investors. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's everything else is really not important. So I'm sorry. I know I really just did all this for a bit too long, but that's pretty much the important stuff. Everything else is meaningless, and now it's a waiting game, and all we can do is wait. Uh, the good news is the end of the year is right around the corner. These people have no room, so I think iRacing is just waiting them out. iRacing is just sitting, and why should they rush and try to offer them something big? I think they'll give them some bullshit little offer and just sit and wait. Uh, I wouldn't rush. Um, and hopefully between now and the end of the year, something gets done. And maybe they end up getting the license, or even if it's a restructured deal. I don't want to see exclusivity for anybody. I hope. I really want NASCAR to do away with that. NASCAR really needs to get their head out of their ass and become smarter and more aware of how important NASCAR video games are to their marketing, to their brand. That's something that's really they've dropped the ball for the past decade, and they really got to wake up. So yeah, those are my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think. I look forward to your comments. Later.